Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of my podcast, Is Breakfast Included? Now today on the show, I got to talk with my good buddy, Detrick Lowman. Detrick and I have known each other for a long time. He's the longtime stage manager and drum tech for the band The Roots. He's also the senior music coordinator on Late Night with Seth Myers. It was a great conversation. He explained to me what it's like to hold down 2 full-time gigs in this industry, how busy it keeps him, and how he keeps it all together. It was a lot of fun. Let's check it out. All right, man. Tell me who you are, what you do, where you're from.
Man, it's Detrick Lowman from Philadelphia, PA. Say happy to represent my city of brotherly love, and I stand on it.
Well, right on, man. Well, tell me what you do for a living. What is your role in the music industry?
So, currently, my role in the music industry, I am the senior music coordinator of Late Night with Seth Myers. We shoot at 30 Rockefeller Plaza. That's my current 9 to 5. Then outside of that, I am the stage manager and drum tech for The Roots, Questlove. Those are my primary 2 things I do every day. And then outside of that, I own a company by the name of Tech Nation, where we basically facilitate any kind of personnel you may need for any kind of touring or events. We house that and try to facilitate that as best we can.
Well, right on, man. Well, let's take a step back. How did you get into being a tech in touring, being a touring tech, so to speak?
I got into being a touring tech. I was first a drummer, and that's how it all started with me playing drums first. Just grew up naturally playing drums. My mom sent me to Settlement Music School, learn how to read music, things like that. Played in high school jazz band, and pretty much high school was where the tech thing just in general kind of started coming to life, with my music teacher kind of making me the guy who had to know how to take everything apart and put it back together. From there, played drums, was in jazz band. Like I said, that's where me and little Darryl Robinson, we became friends. And from there, we were kind of playing in the same circles, of course, playing together and playing in different spaces. And in that, I think it was LL Cool J. It was an LL Cool J gig that came up, and he's like, "Yo, bro, you want to help me do this gig?" Sure. Go up, do the gig, and then the rest has literally been history.
So you were Daryl's tech for a long time.
Yep, I was Daryl's tech for some years. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we met.
Correct. I'll say that's when our relationship, crossed paths, and our brotherhood started from there.
Yeah. Well, you were Daryl's tech, but did you tech for anyone else in that time?
During that time, it was still, we would do, so at that point we were doing these things called Sunday Night Lives, where me and Daryl, he had came up with this idea of doing a gospel version, if you would, of like a musical, open mic kind of vibe, but we called it Sunday Night Lives. So we would have different bands that would come in and, and perform and whatnot, different acts come and perform. And during that time, I was the first guy. Basically, I was the production manager. Before I was ever a production manager, I was the production manager for that. So I was responsible for setting up for everybody. During that time, you got your Spankies, your Boots, all of them who were playing for us locally and different, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of the guy covering for those guys. So it kind of expanded really into just the idea of, because I was around for everybody whenever they needed something, it was like,
you were the go-to guy.
I was the guy. I knew everybody's setup.
Right on. And in your time as a tech, you and I kind of talked for a minute yesterday about you just getting back from Venice. It was a 52-hour trip. In your time as a tech, do you ever find it difficult to talk to people like I can go off and do something in London and then come back, but I feel like kind of a douchebag if somebody says, "Oh, what did you do this weekend?" And I go, "Well, I went to London. Now I'm back." Do you find yourself in that position a lot? Like talking to just
all the time. You really just want to shut up in a room. You don't, you know what I mean? It becomes hard because it's not a thing of, us wanting to or trying to in any way, belittle anybody or, grandstanding anybody on anybody.
Or brag, right? We're not bragging.
Or brag in any way. You know what I mean? It really is just what did I do this weekend? I got on a plane. I flew to Venice. You know what I mean? I did this and landed, and then was back home on Sunday night, like to hug my child, like before he went to bed. Like that's what I did this weekend. It's like, wait, what? It's like yo, get the hell out of here. I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to, that you asked what I did this weekend. That's what it was.
Yeah, right. And how do you juggle all that, man? The family life, the Seth Myers show, the Roots, the Tech Nation. How do you juggle all that and just keep your sanity with that? Because you're a busy guy, man. I keep track of you.
Bruh, it's truly. I mean, I wish I had the actual real answer for how I juggle all of that. But it's honestly just a matter of one, starting with my wife being the main person who's able to keep the household together while I'm gone. Like, you know what I mean? That there's a household to come back to. So that's really where it all really starts and stems from. Like, you know what I mean? My wife holding the crib down. I'm like, so from there, that allows me to be able to do the things I need to do for our family and for our household. You know what I mean? I'm like, so it's really just about my wife being like the champion of all champions, you know what I mean, holding down the house that allows me to move the way I move. And then taking that time when I have my time, I make sure that I try to spend as much of that time as I can with my family when I have my time when I'm not working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You try to give that as much unfiltered time as possible, putting the phone down, turning the phone off if you have to, whatever needs to be done, just try to figure out how to maximize that time when you can. You know what I mean? We're always gone. We're always on the move and things like that. So, but when we're not on the move, you got to try. I know it's hard. It becomes difficult for sure. You know what I mean? For us, because you feel like you only have that little bit of time sometimes to do whatever you're doing away from work, but you got to make that time. I feel like it's a matter of having to make that time.
Yeah. And, of course, we all know what happened in 2020. Everything shut down. How did you maneuver through that? Like the touring stopped. Were you still doing the Seth Myers gig? Were you doing it from home?
I'm about to say everything went remote. So we were working from home on the Seth Myers gig. And then I think once they opened up restrictions, because matter of fact, it was like rioting, everything was kind of going on around at that point. George Floyd's murder had just happened. So it was like a lot going on at that point. And we did our first Roots gig, like not too long right after that. And it was a virtual gig. And that was the first time I'm trying to think what date that was. Man, now it seems like so long ago. I'm like, but
it does, right? It does seem like so long ago.
It really seemed like I'm like literally thinking about it right now. It seemed like so long ago. I'm like, but I'm trying to think about it. It was like early spring. I know for sure it was like early spring. But we did a gig and it was at a venue or whatever, but it was like a televised kind of virtual thing. And that was like the first thing we did. And we started doing a lot of those, like the Roots started doing a lot of virtual gigs. And that's how we really, like a lot of the getting through as far as the touring stuff happened, like was us doing some of these virtual gigs that were happening.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to ask you next, man, is kind of a two-part thing. And maybe you can answer it, maybe or not. Can you walk me through like a typical Seth Myers day versus a typical day on the road with the Roots?
For sure. A typical.
I know that. I know. Yeah. Let's say a day with no gremlins.
Right. So let's see. All right. So I'll start with Seth Myers. Seth Myers, a typical day. If I have a band, typical day. We are on a new schedule now, so. My loading, basically, it's a lot of advancing. Basically, a production manager is what I do on the Seth Myers show. It's labeled as senior music coordinator, but basically production manager for the show. That's what I am. You know what I mean? The venue production manager. So my morning starts without a band. My morning starts at about 10 o'clock. Get into the building, go into the office, sit down, kind of take laptop out. Catch up on any emails, you know what I mean, whatever bands I need to just connect with, make sure we're, still on task, or if I haven't missed anything in my commute up to New York. Because I still live in Philadelphia, but I commute up to New York for my days that I have to go into the office. But after that, that's kind of like, if I don't have a band, my days pretty much just kind of dealing with my house band, because I work with the house band as well. On Late Night with Seth Myers, and I'm the drum tech. I do drum tech for up there as well. We have a program. Eric Lederman, he's one of the production executives on the show. He started this program if you would, on the show where we have guest drummers every week. So literally every week there's a different drummer on the show. Fred Arbison is the actual house drummer, but he can't be there. He has a busy schedule as well. So it plays into, he started this program where every week there's a different drummer, and it could be anybody. Like
I believe this week is Roy Mayorga, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm like,
are you impressed that I knew that?
Yeah, listen. Listen, but that's like, you know what I mean? But that's how it is. Like this week we'll have him. Next week it could be anybody. It could be anybody else. You know what I mean? It could be maybe up and coming that's out here making waves that you might not know, or it could be, again, a Roy Mayorga that's out here doing his thing, and the guy whom we love up at the show. So that becomes like my day without a band, where I'm catering to, my guest drummer and the house band and whatever their needs may be throughout that day. Now, if I have a band, my day starts earlier. I'm there normally about 8:30 in the morning. Go straight to once I drop my bag off in the office, I'll go straight to the studio, and I'm already checking to make sure my risers are in place. The backline gear is all there. And normally just at that point, kind of just waiting for the guest band to show up with their gear. So my stage hands can go down and meet them, bring their gear up, bring them up. And we can pretty much start our load-in from there. Start our load-in, get everything set up. Then after that, we go through a sound check. And then after that, we go through actual full, like almost, we call it camera blocking and TV camera blocking. They do that, make sure it's cool the way that they want it to be. Then we pack all that stuff away, go away for hours, come back, set it back up again, put everything back in place, tape it for the show. We're done with the day, break it down, everybody goes their way, you know what I mean? And that's that day. Now, the Roots, that gig starts, it never ends. Let's just say that. It pretty much never ends. It's always going no matter what. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're always doing something. There's always something going on somewhere. That their gig can intertwine with Seth Myers or the Tonight Show for them, where our morning can start we have a load in. Let's just say we have a Roots gig one day and it's during the week, and we also have a show taping. Yeah. Our day can start with a load in that'll start at 6 a.m. for us. Go do that gig, load in the gear at 6 a.m., make sure everything is up and ready to go. Now, again, our gig might hit at like 8:45, 9 o'clock that same night. 6 o'clock, we're loading in. Get everything loaded in, or, you know what I mean, as much loaded in as we could for that moment. The gigs are normally, if it's in New York, of course, it's normally somewhere close to where we are. Mm-hmm. I'm like, where the actual building is, so we're able to kind of go back and forth where we can go set that stuff up, go over to the other job, get whatever you need to get done on that job, go on your lunch, shoot back over to that place, finish setting everything up, get a good line check, make sure everything's working, everything's, you know what I mean, the way it needs to be, ready for a show, leave, go back to work, finish your day out there. By the time that day is done, by your TV day is done there's sprinters waiting for you downstairs. Jump in the sprinter. That sprinter now takes you to that venue where the show is now waiting for you guys to start in the next like hour and a half.
And then you got to start that night.
Start that night.
And that's actually the real beginning of the thing. I mean,
that's the real beginning. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. That's absolutely the case. You know what I mean? Like that's the real beginning of what that work day really, you know what I mean, will entail. That's when things are really going down.
Yeah.
And because these guys have been doing what they do for 30 years, they can do it's breathing. It's breathing.
It's like a machine, and it just works.
It's a full-grown machine. Like nothing can stop it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that kind of thing. Like it's built to last, always going to be, it's a tugboat for sure.
Yeah. So with your relationship with the Roots before you were at Seth Myers, was that an understanding when you took that gig? Like, hey, I'm going to take this gig, but this is also my gig.
Absolutely. No. It was a full understanding between and a mutual understanding between everybody of how this would play out for sure. And it worked out great for everybody. Like, and I don't want to speak for anybody other parts, but I think it worked out for everybody. I think the way it's been going, and not lacking in any way, being able to facilitate and do my job on all parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, man, I know you've been doing this pretty much for the better part of your life. the live music thing. If you could do anything else, was there anything else you wanted to do before you did all this? Or did you decide when you took that tech theater class or whatever, that like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take it all the way, I'm going to be involved in some way in live production?
So, yeah, I'm about to say, so there's a videotape somewhere out here. I used to carry a video camera. I think I've told the story before. I'm sure of it. But there's a videotape. I used to carry a camera like my 12th grade year, high school. And one day we were in the band room and I took a camera and I just set it in the middle of the table and I spent it to each one of us one by one around the table. And I absolutely remember, and I remember what everybody else was talking about. And a few of us, I know myself included for sure, we all said that we were going to be in the entertainment business one way or another.
Uh-huh.
So I always knew that I would definitely be in the business for sure. Like how I would play out, I didn't know it would be on this side where I would be in production and, and been able to have done some of the things that I've done on the production side. You know what I mean? Still coming in through the music side and being in the circles of everything I love to do and want to do for sure. Like, I don't feel like I'm missing anything or lacking anything with the career and life choice that I've made and now been able to, keep going with. Like, other things I love to do. There's other things I love to do for sure, but I'm doing what I love to do for sure. I'm doing something that I love to do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's a definitely do it without being paid for sure. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I come from the same thing. Like I played guitar. Of course, you always want to be on stage. Everybody wants to be in the music business. But I decided young, like, I'm going to do something.
Yeah,
something to be around it all the time. And
listen, in Philadelphia, we have we have a very large pool of some of the greatest drummers in the world. Like, why would I get in their way? Let me move out you guys' way. Like, this is coming out of a class again. You have Rashid Williams, you have Boots, you have Darryl, you have Spanky. Like, there's absolute, like, killers on drums. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why am I in you guys' way?
Yeah.
Like, at this point, Aaron Draper is playing drums still. He hadn't even transitioned into playing percussion yet. Like, let me move out of y'all way. What sense does this make?
And you know what I love? Because I for a very brief time, I felt like I was part of it because of the crew that I ended up on. And I got to witness a lot of these drummers, and none of them they're not competing. What they're doing is making each other better.
Correct. Exactly.
And there's not like, I can do that better. It's like, watch me learn from that guy and then I'll do it better. Yeah, and that's what I always loved about watching Boots and Darryl play in NERD.
Yeah, no competition. Like, it was never competition. Like, no. It was like, ooh, what's that? Oh, all right, cool. Let me see. Oh. And then you didn't feel the kind of way about it. You watched each other and helped each other grow. Yeah. Like, that's what it's always supposed to be out. Like,
and then even watching Elle at sound
absolutely
check.
Like, and everybody, you know what I mean? But it never being looked down or frowned upon in that way. Like, it was always encouraged. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the space of encouragement, we can laugh and joke and cut on one another. That's just the human in us, that we're going to laugh and joke about each other. Like, but the core of it, like, you know what I mean? There's no malice, and it wasn't never to belittle anyone. Like, you know what I mean? We support one another. Like, we're supposed to support one another.
Yeah. Well, man, is there ever any is there one nightmare gig that stands out to you that still, like, wakes you up from a dead sleep?
Absolutely.
Because we all have that one.
Correct. Of course, I cannot speak of the actual artist, but yeah, I've only quit one job in my life. I've only quit one gig ever in my life.
Yeah.
And it was a gig that there's nothing that could cut me there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, nope. 30 days.
Yeah, I've had a similar gig like that. I've only quit one gig. I've only walked off one gig in my life.
Correct.
And my career is doing this.
Yeah.
Man, there's one story. You and I met. This is going to sound like we're bragging. You and I met in Singapore with NERD. You flew in from another gig to fill in for Elle.
Right.
And came in. We killed it. We did the show. And the one thing I remember about that, I don't know if you remember this, it's pretty funny, is a week later, our production and tour manager were freaking out because you came in from another gig and then had all your laundry done by the hotel. Yeah. And it was like a $200 bill.
Yes. Like, oh my God. What does it sound like? Yo, I had to get laundry done, yo. Like, I was flown in from here. I had to get this lot. But it's okay. Like, I just need the bill. Just give me the bill. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Like, just, yeah. But that's the production stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Funny, I can tell you something. Just recently, we went to Venice and we had a bill. I had a bill on there for $14. And I got a 6-page email asking if this bill was correct. I was like, you wasted more money putting this email together than it did to pay the $14, and then we laugh and joke about this later when I buy somebody a shot when we're together. Next.
Right.
What are we talking about right now?
Let me build that to the production.
Like,
No, we've all had those, like, was this M&Ms? These M&Ms on the hotel bill, were they for the gig or were they personal?
Right.
Yeah. But man, who doing this? I've kept up with you, and you've kept up with me. We've got to meet a lot of our heroes.
Yeah.
What is the one standout person? If you can mention it, what is the one or what experience that you're like, wow, if I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't have been able to do or meet this person? Do you have a moment like that?
I feel like, honestly, every day of my life is that. Like, I feel like every day, man, like when I leave out my door going to do what we do, is that. Like, it really is. Like, I get to again, like this weekend going to Venice. It's not bragging. Like, this is just what ended up happening. I missed one flight trying to get to Venice and ended up having to get on the private jet. We get on the private jet, get there, land, go do setup, do what we have to do the gig. Don't go to sleep. Get right back on the plane, 8 o'clock.
And come home.
Back home. And again, I'm home to hug my kid.
Yeah.
What more can a person ask for?
I know, man. Like,
somebody paid me to do that for the weekend. I have no problem knowing what the pay was.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand why 2020 was so hard on guys like us in our industry. It's not even the perks of a private jet or any of that. It's the fact that we get to do something we love.
We love.
I get to mess with guitars all day. I get to hang out with a really cool boss. I get to meet new people.
I get to hang out with a drum idol of mine every day.
Just an icon.
Like, who's an icon? Like, I get to hang out with this person every day. Like, not in a celebrity, fan way. I get to hang out with this dude as a big brother, big homie, like, you know what I mean? Like, Black Thought, like a god MC. This is somebody who this is people who I get to from where I live, nonetheless.
Yeah.
And these are now people who we're at the crib. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way we're at each other's homes. Like, our families know each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like, really know each other.
Yeah.
Not in passing, like, this is what's happening? You know what I mean? Like,
it's not like he's just your boss.
No, like, I don't think I could even ever say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I refer to my guy when I talk to him, I refer to him as boss, and he hates that. And that's why I do that. But we have that same relationship. Like, we're friends, Yeah,
it's real friends. It's real. Of any other group ever, any other circle of people being around. I've worked around. We both worked around some great circles of individuals, from artists all the way, up and down, however that may play out. We worked around some great camps of people, for sure. As far as the Roots are concerned, they are the epitome of what I personally would say that you would want to be in, especially as a male, like, where you just have camaraderie of the real brotherhood.
Yeah.
Experiencing the world together.
Yeah.
Everybody took the same experience together when we just was in Venice. Everybody did. It wasn't, you know what I mean? We were kept in one place, and you know how that can go. And again, every situation is different, but with them, we rolled together. We all at the 5-star hotel. We all at a 5-star hotel.
Yeah, because that's how it should be.
That's how it should be. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that, you know what I mean? But again, it's levels, of course, to it, for sure. But you appreciate, for what we do, you appreciate when you get into a circle of cats who really, really, operate different. Who
really take in the word family, and it means something.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's not in passing because it helps you get your job done when you're around me. Like, no. It's all the way through. On my normal day, I can get a text message and it's, yo, bro, you good? Just checking in on you. You good? Or you was talking about your back was hurting. You straight? Like, you get that looked at? Like, what's up? A real conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Not, hey, can you pick me up some sticks?
Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the conversation. Like,
Because you want to know why? He knows you're going to do that.
that's done already. We know that's done. Like, that's
That
not
doesn't
something
even need to be asked.
we can actually be in real life.
Well, man,
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you doing this. You know, my podcast is called Is Breakfast Included? D, and if it was, what would you have?
Turkey scrapple, 2 eggs over medium, home fries with peppers and onions, hot sauce, and ketchup on the home fries. I'm good to go. And orange juice.
That's a roadie breakfast right there, bro.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time for me, Detrick. You know, I love
brother.
you, man. I love that we keep in
Well,
touch, and we've always kept in touch.
Absolutely, bro. Like, you know, it was not even a question about getting this done with you. Like, what? This is just a conversation with us. Like, this is this is another just us catching up normal day.
Right on. Well, where can people can they find you on social media? Does Tech Nation have a website, or is that just a production thing only? Or
Yeah, I'm about to say, so basically, if you on social media, more or less in social media, if you want to find us, if you go into Instagram, we're under Tech Nation, Facebook, same thing, Tech Nation as well. You'll see, it'll come up our information if you just want to follow me, Fall Guy _82 2.0. That's my normal, or Detrick Lowman on Facebook. I'm out here. It's not too many Detrick Lowmans. If you look me up, I'll pop up easily for sure. Not hard to track out for sure.
well, man, again, thank you for doing this, man. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope we cross paths soon, man. I know we've done it a couple of times.
Absolutely, bro. See, I know we will.
But take care of yourself, man.
You too, man.
All right, bye-bye. Right on, my good buddy Detrick Lowman, drum tech extraordinaire, stage manager, senior music coordinator on the Seth Myers Show. He does it all, man. Anyway, it was great to talk to him. It's great to catch up with him. We continued the phone call for a little bit after the interview. We were catching up, telling stupid stories. But, man, that's what I love about talking to live music professionals that I know. If it's a good friend, I get to catch up with them. If it's not, I get to know someone new. Anyway, I'm done. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.